Thoughts don't come to you. You summon them. Feel the weight of this statement. Your entire life is a reflection of the thoughts your mind frequently repeats. Today, tomorrow, the next 10 years. Tens of thousands of thoughts pass through your mind every day. And most people aren't even aware of it. Most of us let our thoughts roam freely, like an untrained dog. Every thought that enters our mind affects our relationships, our trust, our dreams. What if I offered you this possibility? What if you could choose and direct every thought that enters your mind like an orchestra conductor? Imagine being an architect, not a victim. This image is not a scientific obsession. It is a concrete reality offered by neuroscience and psychology. There is an observer within you who can observe your thoughts from afar. This observer is that quiet space that notices the flow of your thoughts and does not identify with them. When you disidentify from your thoughts, true transformation begins, because your thoughts automatically become stronger. Each repetition strengthens specific neural pathways. Neuroplasticity shows us this. The brain changes with repetition, and therefore adapts. So what do people do? They often try to fight negative thoughts, suppressing them or forcing positive thoughts into their system. This backfires. The more you tell them, don't think about that, the more thoughts you generate. True mastery comes not from imposing thoughts, but from understanding their mechanisms and strategically managing them. Now, instead of being a passive observer of your mind, become its master. The most successful people understand this. They create great external success by controlling their internal dialogue, their focus, and their beliefs. Every great idea, every breakthrough, often begins with a conscious thought choice. Take a moment to evaluate what comes to your mind today. Is this thought serving your goals? Is it energizing or exhausting? Most people's thoughts are either neutral or counterproductive to their conscious goals. Therefore, thought control is a necessity, not a privilege. Thought mastery brings great power, and power requires responsibility. When you learn to rewrite your mind's software, you become directly responsible for which patterns you nurture and which beliefs you cultivate. It's not an easy path, but it's the gateway to freedom. Practical steps. First, mindfulness. Observe your thoughts without judgment for a day. Step 2. Choose 1 or 2 core automatic patterns and systematically replace them with new, goal-oriented thoughts. Step 3. Reinforce these new thoughts using physical and mental cues, reminders, short meditations, environmental adjustments. When a negative automatic thought arises, you have 90 seconds. Either allow it or consciously change it. This is where the stop, choose, change method comes in. Label the thought, move away from it, and immediately replace it with a more empowering alternative thought. This isn't suppression, it's strategic manipulation. The brain can't easily distinguish imagined reality from reality. Therefore, mentally rehearsing new behaviors strengthens neural pathways as if they were real experiences. Like Olympic athletes, mental practice is just as effective as physical practice. It opens new pathways and weakens old automatics. The tone and language of your inner voice determine your destiny. Provide it with gentle guidance. Ask questions instead of criticism. For example, is this thought serving me? Tell yourself encouraging, solution-focused affirmations. Celebrate small victories. Each celebration strengthens a new neural pathway. Negative cycles are inevitable. Recognizing them early and using circuit breakers, breathing, walking, physical movement, can break the cycle. Also, the 24-hour rule. Don't make sudden, important decisions when you're highly emotional. Allow your system to calm down. While you don't have full control over your thoughts, you can choose how you interact with them. This choice transforms you from a passive victim of your life into a conscious creator. Are you ready? Redirect your mind. Reality responds through the quality of your observation. Chapter 2. Think of your mind like a computer. Simple on the outside, complex on the inside, and composed of thousands of tiny processes operating simultaneously. This is precisely how your mental operating system works. The thoughts, beliefs, habits, and reactions you've unconsciously developed over the years continue to run in the background, like old software. As you listen to these words, the conscious part of your mind deals with only a small stream of data per second. It analyzes, evaluates, and focuses on the present moment. But this is a tiny fraction of your total mental power. True capacity is like a giant server quietly operating beneath your consciousness. The subconscious mind processes millions of bits of information per second, automatically managing your emotions, initial reactions, reflexes, and most of your thoughts. Think of your subconscious mind like the foundation of a house. You see the upper floors, behaviors, decisions, thoughts. But it's the invisible foundation that holds this structure up. Your earliest childhood experiences, the patterns you've learned, the suggestions you've been exposed to for years are stored here. This software is directly recorded, especially in the early years of life, when the brain is hypersensitive to theta waves. That's why most automatic thoughts seem familiar. You think, this is just how I am. Yet most are simply old software that runs on its own. Some are useful, like the automatic programs that make you shift gears without thinking while driving. But some no longer serve you. They're code that holds you back, weakens you, and limits your potential. Consider an example. If you were frequently criticized as a child, your subconscious mind has turned it into "I'm not good enough" software. And today, when an opportunity presents itself, this old program runs in the background. You can't do that. Be careful. Don't take risks. These thoughts feel real because your brain clings to what's familiar. Not because they're real, but because they're programs. The essence of thought control is realizing that you can stop these automatic programs. Just like you update applications on your computer, you can install new programs in your mind. But first, you need to understand which ones are running. This is where mental control comes into play. Try tracking your thoughts throughout the day. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you wake up in the morning? What thoughts do you think about when you look in the mirror? What automatic phrases does your mind produce when you're planning a goal, talking to someone, or experiencing stress? You'll soon begin to see patterns. The same thoughts always arise in certain situations. The same voice always speaks about yourself, others, and the future. This voice isn't actually you. It's an echo of old programming. And the beauty is, your brain makes no distinction between the thought you choose and the thought you learned from others years ago. It accepts the most frequently repeated, most emotionally charged thought as the correct program. In other words, you can reprogram yourself. This doesn't just mean replacing negative statements with positive ones. It means redesigning your entire thought architecture. It means deleting old code and replacing it with thought infrastructures that serve your future. It means stopping running old software imposed on you by others and becoming the true programmer of your own mind. Think about it this way. If someone else managed your computer for years, filling it with content you don't need, would you keep that software forever? Probably not. You clean it up, update it, and optimize it. Your mind deserves the same attention. This is the secret of successful people. They regularly review their mental systems. They delete unhelpful thoughts and replace them with powerful, progressive thought sets. They know that mental programming is not an accident, but a choice. And remember, programming can always be changed. Just apply it with the right method and determination. What you carry in your mind determines the kind of life you actually live. Therefore, transforming your thoughts is the fastest and most definitive way to transform every aspect of your life. Chapter 3. You might think of your thoughts as abstract images floating around in your mind, but in fact, every physical reality was born from a tiny spark of an idea that once appeared in someone's mind. The phone you're using now, the house you live in, the job you're working on, the relationships you formed, they all first existed as an invisible thought and then materialized. This isn't a metaphysical claim. It's the simplest truth of human experience. But the power of thoughts isn't limited to creating objects. Your thoughts also shape your perception. They determine what you notice, what you ignore, where you see opportunities, and where you sense obstacles. That's why two people can experience the same event and come to completely different conclusions, because they're looking at things from their own perspective, not their own mental filters. This filtering is managed by a small but incredibly powerful network in your brain, the Reticular Activating System, or RAS for short. Think of it as your conscious Google search engine. The RAS records your frequently recurring thoughts as prioritized information and displays only stimuli in your environment that align with them. So, when you become obsessed with a car model, you suddenly see it everywhere. Those cars have always been there, but your mind wasn't programmed to filter them and present them to you. The same mechanism operates in every aspect of life. If the dominant thought in your mind is inadequacy, the RS immediately begins to collect evidence of it. Missed opportunities, things that went wrong, seemingly risky paths. However, if your thoughts shift to possibility, growth, development, your focus shifts. This time, your brain begins to highlight new doors you previously overlooked. The paths to success become visible, because you are the one telling your mind what to look for. Your thoughts determine not only your perception, but also your emotions. Your emotions shape your actions. Someone who thinks fearfully naturally feels fear. And this emotion either stops them or causes them to avoid risk altogether. Someone who thinks with confidence feels a courage and energy they've never experienced before. So they take action, try, and ultimately achieve results. This cycle, the cycle of thought, emotion, and action, is the fundamental mechanism by which your inner world builds your outer world. Let's give a real-life example. Someone who constantly thinks, "I'm not good enough," feels insecure in their daily lives. This feeling holds them back, prevents them from exploring potential opportunities, and prevents them from taking action due to their fear of failure. Consequently, their experiences convey the message, "That's it, you really are not good enough." Thus, the thought becomes self-confirming, and the vicious cycle continues. However, if someone else constantly thinks, "I'm learning, I'm improving, I'm growing. This thought inspires hope, energy, and a desire to take action. This makes them entrepreneurial. They pursue opportunities, aren't afraid to try, and even if they fail, they try again. This attitude brings better results and strengthens their thinking. Thus, an upward cycle begins in life. The only reason two people with the same external circumstances can arrive at completely different conclusions is because of their thought patterns. One sees obstacles, the other a way out. The same event destroys one and strengthens the other. Mental operating systems make a difference. That's why simply thinking positively isn't enough. It's not about denying reality. It's about consciously choosing thoughts that empower you rather than surrendering to thoughts that create an undesirable reality. Your thoughts are like seeds you plant in the soil. Every thought is a seed. Depending on what you plant, your life will either be overgrown with weeds or flourish. Most people plant the seeds others have planted. Family anxieties, social limitations, past fears. But a conscious person becomes the gardener of their own mind. They decide what to plant. They decide what will grow. And science completely confirms this. Neuroplasticity shows that the brain physically changes in response to repeated thoughts. A repeated thought creates strong neural pathways in the brain that determine how you will feel and behave in the future. In other words, your current reality is the result of your mental programming. But you can also rebuild your future by changing your thoughts. This point of awareness is a turning point in your life. You cease being a passive victim of circumstances and become an active creator of reality. You understand that changing the outer world requires changing your inner world. That's why thought control is the most important life skill. It's not about stopping every random thought. It's about your programming. Chapter 4. For a very long time, humanity believed that the brain was a structure that froze after a certain age. The saying, "People don't change after 25, was almost accepted as scientific fact. It was believed that the characteristics, thoughts, and behaviors formed in childhood would persist throughout life. However, as neuroscience advanced, this belief was completely shattered. Scientists discovered that the brain is not actually fixed, but rather a giant electrical network that reorganizes and reshapes itself every moment we breathe. This revolutionary discovery was called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability, like an organism, to form new connections, erase old pathways, and constantly renew itself. In other words, every thought we think, every emotion we feel, and every decision we make leaves a mark on our brain. It's like walking through a forest and forging a new path. When you think the same thought over and over, it transforms from one path to another, from one road to another, from one street to another, and finally into a highway. That's why a negative belief you've harbored for years, "I'm not good enough," "I'll fail," "I have no chance," feels so real and powerful, because your brain has a massive neural highway for it. But here's the good news. The same process happens when you choose a new thought. At first, this new thought is a weak and narrow path. It's difficult to navigate. But with repetition, especially emotional energy, this new thought strengthens, develops, and eventually replaces the old thought. This is how true transformation happens. The brain's most surprising ability, its inability to distinguish between reality and fantasy. Scientists have discovered that for the brain, thinking is often the same as experiencing. Numerous studies have shown that people who visualize a skill develop at levels similar to those who physically practice it. That's why Olympic athletes visualize before competitions. The brain processes the imagined movement as if it were real and strengthens neural pathways accordingly. Musicians mentally rehearse and refine their performances simply by thinking. All point to the same truth. Your brain rebuilds itself based on your thoughts. Therefore, when your way of thinking changes, your life changes too. There's no need to wait for a different external condition. Change starts from within and is reflected externally. So how does brain transformation occur? Neuroscience says that transformation occurs in 3 stages. 1. Awareness. You become aware of your automatic thoughts. With each new awareness, the control your thoughts have over you weakens. 2. Consciously choosing new thoughts. You choose the thoughts of the person you want to be. This choice is the beginning of preparing for the new self that will replace your old self. 3. Repetition and emotional strength. As you repeat a new thought, neural connections thicken, strengthen, and deepen. Old habits fade over time because they are not used. And one day, the new thought is no longer a thought you chose. It becomes you. How long does change take? Some thought patterns begin to soften within a few days. Deeper wounds, old patterns, can persist for weeks or months. This stems not from resistance, but from biology. But time isn't the key. It's a principle. Your brain changes with you, not against you. Every day, with every thought, with every choice. Neuroplasticity is constantly at work, whether you're aware of it or not. Therefore, not managing your thoughts is also a choice. It's surrendering your mind to the outside world, to chance, to the words of others. The most successful, most productive, and most peaceful people know this very well. They view their minds as capital, not a tool. They choose their internal dialogue based on their goals, not random emotions. Because they understand, it's not effort that changes behavior, but the neural programs that generate it. If the program changes, behavior automatically changes. Here's why. No matter how long you've been thinking the same way, no matter how automatic it feels, no matter how deeply, the nature of your brain is change. You can let go of thoughts that don't serve you, replace them with thoughts that do, literally redesign your life. This episode isn't just informative, it's also an invitation. Be the architect of your mind, because understanding neuroplasticity is the beginning. Now is the time to use this power consciously and skillfully. Chapter 5. The human mind works at an extraordinary speed. The average person encounters 60,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day. But the most striking aspect of these thoughts is not their number, but their frequency. Approximately 90% of this intense flow is the same as the thoughts of the previous day. In other words, most people don't actually experience a new day. They simply replay the mental programs of the previous day, the previous week, or even the previous year. Behaviors remain the same, emotions never change, and it's incomprehensible why life always returns to the same point. These automatic thought patterns, operating subconsciously, operate like an invisible cell. You feel safe because they're familiar, but they actually silently steal your potential. They create mental walls that trap you within the confines of your old self. And most people are unaware of this cycle. So why are these automatic thoughts so powerful? Because they're powerful, not because they're true. They're powerful because they're repeated frequently. The more you repeat a thought, the more you believe it's natural, real, and unchangeable. Your brain mistakes this for a threat protection mechanism. It says, "Thinking like this keeps me safe." Therefore, anxious thoughts make the future seem bleak. Judgmental thoughts belittle you or others. Comparison thoughts undermine your self-esteem. Victim thoughts shift responsibility away from you. Limiting thoughts portray the impossible, not the possible. These mechanisms that once protected you now become a cycle that diminishes you. The key to breaking this cycle: metacognition. The skill psychologists call metacognition, thinking about thoughts, is the foundation for breaking free from automatic patterns. When you can observe your thoughts, you stop letting them control you. You no longer have to believe every mental tendency. You might ask, is this thought my reality or just an old program? Here are some powerful methods you can use. 1. Thought awareness. Several times a day, stop and ask yourself these questions. What am I thinking right now? Is this thought serving me? Is this thought moving me toward my goal, or is it holding me back? You can even set small alarms on your phone to remind yourself of this. Each time an alarm goes off, start observing your mind for a moment. These small pauses break the automatism. 2. Thought labeling. When an automatic thought arises, give it a name. This is a worrying thought. This is a judgmental thought. This is a comparison thought. This is a limiting thought. Labeling creates distance between you and the thought. You're no longer in it. You're above it. 3. The questioning technique. When you catch a thought, ask yourself, is this thought absolutely true? How does this thought make me feel? How would I feel if this thought didn't exist? Is there any real evidence to support it? What evidence refutes it? These simple questions reveal that many thoughts you consider true are actually just interpretations. 4. The stop and switch method. When you catch an automatic thought, first stop it, then replace it with a more constructive and realistic thought. This isn't about imposing positive thinking. It's a conscious choice. For example, I'm not succeeding. I'm making progress every day. I'm not good enough. I'm improving every day. This is too hard. Challenges make me grow. A new thought may not seem convincing at first. The key is to choose a more appropriate direction. 5. Physical interruption. Sometimes just thinking isn't enough. You need to move your body. Clap your hands. Stand up. Rub your shoulders. Take a deep, slow breath. Change your walking style. These small movements reset your nervous system and invite your mind to operate in a different mode. Automatic breathing patterns develop over time. At first, you're slow to notice thoughts. Then you start catching them more quickly. Then you can stop them the moment they arise. After a while, they stop coming back. Because they don't repeat themselves, they lose their power. Because you're no longer feeding the old patterns, they gradually fade away. The new thoughts you choose to replace become powerful automatic patterns. The goal isn't to eliminate all automatic thoughts. The goal is to eliminate the automatism that limits you, to create the automatism that empowers you. Your mind ceases to be a limiting mechanism. It becomes your most valuable tool for building the life you dream of. The essence of this chapter is this: when you choose your thoughts, you choose your destiny. Chapter 6. Most people believe their thoughts occur outside their control. They compare their thoughts to the weather or random events. They think they're happening to them. But this is the most disempowering belief you can have. It makes you a victim of your own mind. The truth is, while you can't control every thought, you can completely choose which thoughts you engage with, whether you feed them, and how you react to them. This is the essence of conscious thought choice. Seeing thoughts like a garden. Think of your mind as a garden. Thoughts are like seeds falling into your garden. Some come from external sources, conversations, media, environmental triggers. Some come from your subconscious programming. But remember, even if a seed falls in your garden, you don't have to water it and let it grow. You can uproot it or strengthen it before it takes root like a weed. The first rule of conscious thought selection is to distinguish between a thought that comes to mind and a thought that arrives unexpectedly. The thought that comes to mind, it arrives like a guest at your door. Your choice. Open the door and invite me in, or dismiss me. There's a critical window of about 90 seconds. During this time, you can decide whether to nurture the thought or let it go. Thought discrimination. Develop criteria for determining the value of your thoughts. Does this thought bring me closer to my goals? Does it increase or drain my energy? Does it expand or limit my possibilities? Does it align with my values? Does it align with the person I want to be? These criteria will allow you to quickly understand which thoughts to focus on. Conscious thought selection develops the skill meditation teachers call mindfulness. Mindfulness and note-taking. Observe your thoughts without getting carried away, like standing on a riverbank and watching the water flow by. Take notes. This is a worrying thought. This is a planned thought. Or this is a dream. Taking notes distracts you from the thought and frees you from identification. The 5-second rule and substitution. When a disempowering thought arises, give yourself 5 seconds to ask yourself, is this thought serving me? If not, redirect your attention to something more constructive. The substitution technique is important. When your mind is clear, unwanted thoughts quickly return. Instead, fill your mind with prepared, empowering thoughts. Affirmations. I am learning and growing every day. Gratitude. Affirmations. Visualization of goals. Questions. Breathing or physical sensations. This collection should be emotionally meaningful and easily accessible. The conscious choice routine. Consciously choosing a thought is not suppressing unwanted thoughts. Suppression often backfires and makes the thought more powerful. Conscious choice is consciously choosing where to direct your mental energy. Like deciding what to watch. Like choosing what to eat. Like choosing which thoughts to nurture and which to let go. The more often you practice, the stronger your mental discipline becomes. You begin to see thoughts not as uncontrolled streams, but as tools to choose from. Advanced practice. When you master it, you don't just choose which thoughts to engage with. You consciously generate empowering thoughts. You summon creative insights and resourceful states. You act with your highest and best thoughts, regardless of external circumstances. Consciously choosing what enters your mental environment is as important as being mindful of what you put into your body. Media, conversations, books, and entertainment. All mental input shapes your thought patterns. Chapter 7. The voice in your head never stops. It comments on your experiences, offers opinions about yourself and others, predicts the future, and evaluates your performance. This inner dialogue is so constant and familiar that many people mistake it for their own. However, this voice is not your identity. It is a learned pattern that can be transformed to serve your highest good. The source of your inner voice. Your inner dialogue was shaped in childhood by the voices of authority figures around you: parents, teachers, coaches, siblings. If you grew up in a critical environment, your inner voice may also be critical. If you grew up in a supportive environment, you developed a supportive inner voice. But no matter how it was programmed, you have the power to reprogram it. Awareness and observation. Becoming aware of your inner dialogue is the first step. Attitude: encouraging or critical? Language: is it empowering or limiting? Timing: when is it most intense and negative? This awareness helps you develop strategies for specific situations. Conscious voice. Shifting. A powerful technique for mastering your inner dialogue is conscious voice shifting. Consciously change the tone, tempo, and quality of your voice. Replace a critical inner voice with an encouraging and optimistic tone. Imagine your inner voice coming from a mentor or ideal character you admire. This provides an empowering perspective that allows you to break free from your default patterns. Language and expression. Transform automatic negative comments into empowering statements. I made this mistake. I'm stupid. I'm learning and growing from this experience. He's better than me. I can learn from his experiences. This is impossible. This is difficult, but I'm ready. Steering inner dialogue with questions. Ask questions instead of statements. What small step can I take right now? What skills can I develop to improve this situation? Questions encourage solution-focused thinking and lead to solutions rather than reinforcing limitations. Inner dialogue. Protocols and self-compassion. Develop empowering protocols for specific situations. Challenges. This is a learning opportunity. What can I learn from this situation? Mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes, and I'm learning too. I forgive myself and will do better. Self-compassion and kindness create a safe inner environment and facilitate acceptance of risk. Inner celebration and motivation. Internally, celebrate progress and success, no matter how small. I was right to take that risk. I'm proud of myself for not giving up. Instead of seeking external validation, inner appreciation builds self-confidence and positive momentum. Chapter 8. Negative thought loops are like mental tornadoes that can destroy your peace of mind, self-confidence, and progress in minutes. They often begin with a single negative thought, which triggers other negative thoughts, creating a downward spiral. While these loops may seem impossible to escape, understanding how they work gives you the power to intervene and transform. Anatomy of a negative loop. A negative loop typically begins with trigger, a situation that threatens your self-worth, competence, or security. Emotional response. Your brain's threat perception system is activated and stress hormones are released. Chain negative thoughts. The initial thought attracts other negative thoughts, creating anxiety and insecurity. For example, constructive feedback might be, opening thought, maybe I'm not good enough at my job. Then, what if I get fired? This is followed by, I always make mistakes, or everyone is more talented than me. So, even mild anxiety can spiral into a full-blown spiral of panic and insecurity. Recognizing cycles. Early. The key to stopping negative cycles is recognizing them before they gain momentum. Early warning signs can include tightness in the chest, shoulders, or abdomen, changes in breathing patterns, increased heart rate, increased irritability, anxiety, sadness, or overwhelm, racing thoughts, recurring worries, difficulty concentrating. Recognizing these signs allows you to intervene before the spiral intensifies. Circuit breaker techniques. The moment you realize you're in a spiral, take immediate action to break it. Physical movement, walking, jumping, dancing, intense cleansing. Negative energy is trapped in your body. Movement releases it and shifts your mood. Perspective shift. Consciously detach from the current situation and ask, will this situation be important in 5 years? What opportunities are there in this challenge? What advice would I give my friend in this situation? These questions encourage more rational and balanced thinking. Pause. Mentally command, stop, and stop the negative automatic flow. Positive redirection. Divert your attention to something empowering. Recall a positive memory. Practice gratitude. Use affirmations that refute the negative theme. Evidence review technique. Evaluate evidence that supports and refutes the negative thought. Am I assuming the worst-case scenario? Am I taking this personally? Am I catastrophizing the situation? Reframing. Instead of viewing the triggering event as evidence of your inadequacy, view it as feedback and an opportunity for growth. This mistake doesn't prove I'm inadequate. It shows where I can improve. Gratitude and focus. Shifting. Gratitude. Interruption technique. When the cycle begins, immediately shift your attention to things you are grateful for. This technique reduces the emotional impact of negative thoughts and raises your vibration. Cycle prevention strategies. Identify triggers and develop specific responses to each one. Criticism. Feedback for my growth and development. Setbacks. This is preparation. Preparation for the next opportunity. Future self technique. Ask yourself, how would my wisest self view this situation? What perspective would I choose for success and wisdom? Self-compassion and grounding. If you don't recognize the cycle early enough, practice self-compassion. Everyone goes through tough times. I'm human too. Return to the present moment and address the real issues with grounding techniques. Having negative thoughts doesn't mean you're failing to think. It's part of being human. Control and the 24-hour rule. Control. The goal is not to completely eliminate negative thoughts, but to gain the ability to recognize and direct them. The 24-hour rule. During an intense negative cycle, avoid making important decisions or engaging in impulsive actions. This allows your nervous system and rational mind to calm down. Mental resilience and strength. As you successfully transform negative cycles, you increase your mental resilience, gain emotional balance, gain power over your mental state. With practice, the cycles become shorter, less intense, and easier to transform. Ultimate goal: to make negative cycles occur less frequently, and when they do occur, you can quickly and gracefully return to your previous state. Chapter 9. Just as our bodies can develop immunity to physical illnesses, our minds can develop immunity to mental and emotional toxins that drain our energy, lower our vibration, and hinder our progress. This process involves building a strong mental immune system. Mental immunity involves maintaining a positive mental state, regardless of external factors, and developing psychological defenses that automatically protect you from negative influences. Understanding the contagiousness of negativity. Negative thoughts and feelings spread between people through a mechanism scientists call emotional contagion. When you spend time with pessimistic or toxic people, their mental states can unconsciously influence you. Mirror neurons in your brain allow you to adapt by automatically mimicking the emotional states of others. However, just like physical immunity, mental immunity can be strengthened through conscious practice. This doesn't mean becoming cold or indifferent. Rather, it means being able to show compassion to others while maintaining your own positive state. Key components of mental immunity: energy, awareness. People and environments influence your mental state. Observe how you feel before, during, and after your interactions. Identify which relationships make you feel energized and which make you feel drained. Keeping an energy journal. Rate your mood, energy, and optimism on a scale of 1 to 10 for a week. This data helps you understand the factors that strengthen and weaken your mental immunity. Boundaries and filters. Create boundaries to let in positive influences and keep out negative ones. Learn to say no to energy-draining conversations, constant critical relationships, and media that fills your mind with negativity. Selective attention. In unavoidable negative situations, consciously focus your attention on your goals, values, and the present moment. Seeing the positive aspects of a situation helps you maintain mental balance even in challenging circumstances. Mental shield and protective visualization. Mental shield technique. Imagine yourself surrounded by a barrier that repels negative energy and attracts positive energy. Before entering potentially challenging situations, visualize this protective shield and aim to maintain a positive state of mind. This mental preparation prepares your subconscious mind to process experiences through a protective lens. Empowering core programming. Regularly reinforce positive beliefs about yourself, your abilities, and your future. Develop mental antibodies against common negative influences. Practice maintaining a positive state of mind when faced with criticism, pessimism, or drama. Deflect technique. Consciously direct negative energy back to its source and respond with compassionate thoughts. A protocol for overcoming negativity. Create a protocol for those moments when your mental immunity is weakened. Deep breathing, affirmations, physical movement, meditation, gratitude, journaling, spending time in nature. A well-established protocol prevents temporary negativity from permanently damaging your mental state. Positive environment and regular check-in. Surround yourself with uplifting friends, inspiring books, beautiful music, nature, exercise, and spiritual practices. Regularly evaluate your relationships, activities, and commitments. Limit negative or depleting influences and increase nourishing and empowering activities. Use your mental filtering system to consciously select information and energy. Emotional resilience and strong engagement. The goal of mental immunity is not to become isolated or apathetic. With strong mental immunity, you can maintain a positive state of mind while fully participating in life. Instead of being exhausted by others' challenges, you become a source of strength and positivity for them. Regular challenges and recovery practices increase your mental resilience and strengthen you. Maintaining mental immunity journaling, affirming goals, and spending time with supportive people strengthen your mental defenses. Mental immunity is a continuous process. It's not a one-time achievement. The stronger it is, the more freedom you have to interact with the world while maintaining a positive outlook. This allows you to help others, overcome challenges gracefully, and move toward your goals.